Yep, next on the MARR Army Rock Show, making their first appearance on the MARR Army Rock Show is the band Conquest, represented by Rob. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. They've got new music just around the corner out for everybody. Rob, welcome to the show.
How you doing, guys? How are you all?
Hey, man, it's good to talk to you, and I know there's some exciting stuff going on with the band in the near future that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But, hey, first, introduce yourself a little bit. The band has quite a long history. Tell us a little bit about your entry into the band.
Well, the story on me is pretty straightforward. Actually, Derek Brumley is the lead singer and actually the founder of the band. He started this band, believe it or not, when he was 13 years old as a kid, and back in the time when all the other guys are picking up their guitars and learning how to play other people's music, Derek always was steadfast on his own creations, and he felt more comfortable that way. And fast forward a few years when he first put Conquest together, and I was the original bass player. It was me and Derek and a guy named Wolfie and a guy named Tony Green, and we at that time back in the era, bars and things of that nature were not friendly to original heavy rock music, so we had to basically rent halls and do this and make our own shows, and we were actually really good at it, and they're pretty successful with it. And then as time went on and life changes, I removed myself basically from the band, met my adoring wife and had kids and did my thing, but I've always stayed in music in itself. As that time went on, Conquest kept on rolling with the punches and kept doing well and making their fan base bigger and selling more albums. Like this is the 9th studio release actually for Conquest. Well, back in 2013, I was playing a little club in St. Louis for some guys, and Derek kept to walk in, and we just reconnected, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I said, "Not much." I said, he's like, "We just have their bass player they had for a long time was a great bass player, good guy named Tony Restivo. Well, Tony, he decided to take a different life path, and so they were looking for a bass player. So Derek goes, 'Hey, man, what do you think about coming back in?' I'm like, "Yeah, let's try it out and see what happens." And we got together, had a great time. It was just like the magic was back, and here we go. We started. Then we dove right into the studio and released "The War We Rage," and that was my first studio release back with the band. And I always tell people they laid me off 20 years ago, and I finally called back to work. So anyway, and so then we just went on from there. Then we did Under the Influence, and now we just wrapped up a while back The World's Gone to Hell, and that is out right now in demo CDs for record like radio stations, things of that nature, to promote it for when it hits January 1st, in which it's, by the way, Conquest is on Dark Star Records, Sony distribution worldwide, so January 1st, everything branches out. One thing about Conquest, really, from Under the Influence, which was our concept, wasn't a concept album, that's incorrect. It was actually a cover album of all our heroes that we love in the music industry. We've done it, Anthrax has done it, Metallica's done it, Slayer's done it, Motorhead's done it. So we were asked if we would do it, and we did, and it was actually and still is successful for us. Prior to that was, of course, with me and the band, was War We Rage. What that album was about, and it kind of leads into, from War We Rage, kind of leads into The World's Gone to Hell. The War We Rage is, we are a band that is extremely pro-American soldier. Men and women who are serving their armed services, doing wonderful jobs. God bless all of you for doing what you do for us and keeping us safe. And where a lot of bands out there are very, I guess liberal in a sense, and they're anti-war. We're not pro-war. No one's pro-war, but you are pro what you have to do to protect your country and your people. That's all there is to it. And so our album for The War We Rage was basically based on this, based on, what in perspective of what a poor soldier has to go through, in a sense, and that's what that all led into The World's Gone to Hell. What that really is about is the fact of the political turmoil in this entire world right now. Jesus Christ, man. I don't care whether you're left wing, right wing, or you're this, or you're conservative, the Republican, Democrat, whatever the branding is of what you believe, man. It's just nothing but strife and fighting, and people just going nuts over this shit. I mean, no one's ever learned anymore how to actually just kind of disagree and just get, it's not cool, I get your point, but I got my point. But now it's with social media and the shit like that. Excuse my language. With things of that nature, the world's it's turned upside down, man. So that's what we came into. The world's gone to hell, and that's what that album is really kind of about.
Hey, you mentioned something about the Under the Influence record. What was your personal favorite? Was there one that you said, I have to have this band on there?
Well, how this started is actually kind of funny in a sense. Dark Star Records is an affiliation with I think it's SGL Movies, a movie company out of California. Basically, we reside in the Midwest, but all our business, consulting and all our work and all the record label, everything's out of Los Angeles, California. We just happen to reside in the Midwest, but so they have they're in with Sony movies as well, like distribution of movies. So there was I guess it would be like a mini series, almost like Twilight for sake of argument. It's called the Jezbeth series. Damien Dante and them with Dark Star SGL made these movies, and they're basically vampire movies. Okay, so they had used Conquest on the first movie in the backing music for the motion picture, and so when it came up to Jezbeth 3, the third installment of this series, they asked Conquest, "Hey, we want you to do a cover tune, if you wouldn't mind, because we want your flavor on it." And they said, okay, we'll purchase the rights to do the song and all this stuff, rock on. So, okay, so what do you want us to do? And they're like, well, we want you to do, Bad Company by the band Bad Company, And we all sat around, we chuckled, on a conference call, we chuckled. We're like, hey, man, you guys ever heard of Five Finger Death Punch? They have a huge hit right now with that exact same song,
Right.
And they're like, yeah, but we know that you put a different spin on it. I said, no, we're not doing that. I said, we're not going to do that. Thank you so much. Jeffrey Swanson's actually the owner and CEO. I said, no, thank you so much. But we're not going to do that because, number one, we're not going to step on the toes of a song that was already a incredible hit and a timeless classic in the first place. And then another band is already doing it right now, and they're doing very, very, very successful. That would be suicide on our part to do something stupid like that. So they said, okay, we'll figure something else out. And we let it go for about a month. So they hit us back up. We got the song now for you. Okay, what's the song? We want you to redo Bon Jovi's Dead or Alive. And then we all said it. We all laughed. We're chuckling. We're like, are you high? We're not that kind of band. And they're like, we know we'll get what we want out of you because we know how you guys will approach it. So, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So we did. So we went in the studio. We spent probably about a good 2 months, bantering back and forth on who wants to do what parts differently, this and that, this and that, to try to keep it. We wanted to keep the flavor pure for the Bon Jovi purists, however. But we had to put our own take on it for the people who like our music so that they wouldn't be dissatisfied. So, we just kind of went around things. I changed a lot of the bass parts, kept them in the right, flavor of the tune. But I do a lot of cool, like, two-hand tapping things on with the bass, and kind of, I kind of added like the Christmas lights to the tree for sake of argument, And then we just did it our own style, and we sent it back to them, and the people at the Jezbeth for the movie, they heard it. They're like, "That's it. It's a winner. We won it." I said, "Well, great, thanks." So then they get it back with us a month later. Now we want an entire album. We're like, what? And so Jeffrey Swanson goes, no, we want an entire album. We want you to do an entire album of the songs that you guys grew up with or currently love now, but that's what we want. And they went through the whole thing. Hey, look, Slayer, Metallica, Anthrax, Motorhead, everybody's done it. But that's what we want. So we sat down. We said, okay. We all just kind of figured out what we loved as bands. We each all have our individual take. Well, of course, Bon Jovi tunes on there, Dead or Alive, obviously, that's going to be on there. But then we each kind of took our own take on it. For me personally on the album, I'm a huge UFO freak. I love UFO. That's why we did Lights Out in London. And of course, I love Lemmy. You just can't go wrong. So that's why I picked Ace of Spades. And then, Derek, big into Priest. That's why we picked the Priest we did, and that's why, Tim picked the Iron Maiden that we did, and then of course we recovered, Metallica, because we just dig Metallica, and we just redid, Doom the Bells Toll, and so and then of course we're all big Anthrax fans. Conquest toured a lot with Anthrax, and actually we were real good friends with Joey Belladonna, Frankie Bello, and so we redid Antisocial. So that's kind of how the Under the Influence came about, and it's worked really well for us, and we're still getting really, really, really good residual sales out of that, So
we heard. Sorry. We heard a little bit about the music that's out there now. Now talk a little bit about live shows. At this time of year, live performances slow down for most people. When can folks expect to see you guys live again soon?
Well, our next show is in Santa Ana, California, and that's going to be in January. We just did a headlining show at Pop's Concert Venue, which is in the Midwest. It's right outside of St. Louis. It's in Sauget, Illinois. And it's a big room. All the Nationals play there. We just did that one. Prior to that, we did the arena in St. Charles, Missouri. We did the arena, and now what we're doing is, because the NAMM convention's coming up, which we're part of the NAMM convention every year in Anaheim. This year, they asked us if we would actually perform this year. They've asked us we've been going for the last 7 years, but they've been asking us to perform every year, and we've not. This year we've actually decided to do it because we've got a pretty good fan base out there that's actually have just really been, kind of put the feet to the floor and said, hey man, we got to have that this year, So we said, sure. So there's a cool little venue out there down by the Grove area, and we're going to be playing there. So that's going to be our next show. Will be in Santa Ana. It's going to be a blast.
Well, hey man, the band is Conquest. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri, and we've had Rob with us. Their new record is due out on January 1st. It's called The World Has Gone to Hell. We encourage you to go out there and pick it up. Check out the band. It's Conquest Metal on Facebook. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's actually, it goes under, it's in a lot of print, they always get it wrong. They have it as one word, Conquest Metal. So people think, oh, your band's Conquest? No, the band is Conquest. But the tagline is Conquest Metal on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. There's a Conquest Metal page on YouTube. You can find it there. And as far as our music goes, you can get it anywhere. Any major record distribution, Spotify, Reverb Nation, blah, 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 Amazon. It's all over.
Well, we're encouraging folks to go out there and find it. Once again, they're Conquest out of St. Louis. Hey, Rob, man, thanks a lot for taking the time today to be with us. I had a good time talking with you, man.
Thank you, Rocky. I appreciate it so much. I'm glad I could be of assistance.